everyone expects that that's how it works. I know of one cartooning couple that has a queue. Other than that, I don't know anyone who works with a queue other than the one required for like Chris Hastings, who does Dr. McNinja. His comics are written a week or two ahead of time because they have to then go to the colorer who does the coloring, and she, I think it's Metro, who does the coloring, and then that happens, and so there's like a forced queue there, which is drawn a couple ahead of time. But other than that, I think there's something about it where it's nice to have a queue, but most of the time we'll sketch all these ideas or have these jokes, but it's only the deadline pressure that makes you actually sit down and pin one of them down into a comic. So no, I have actually gotten, lately I've been drawing a lot more than I've been putting up on the website, which was not the case for most of the run of the comic, and that's been a lot of fun. That was the case at the very beginning, and then it was not the case for a very long time. And I've been doing that again now, which is why I have books full of these doodles with these terrible jokes. And that's been a lot of fun. And now I sort of do have a queue in that I have a big sketchbook or a stack of comics that at the very least I could pull one of them out and put it up. But, Yeah, I know that they, at least when I last saw anything from them, the couple who does Two Fish for Dinner and Natalie B. and Married to the Sea, and they had said that they were working months and months in advance. But oh really? Oh, they're not? Okay. I saw her. She did an interview. Natalie did an interview where she said something like that. Where she said that she can commit advance and then she can go on a trip if she wants. I don't know. But other than that, all of the cartoonists, and I've spoken with them. I don't know them, but of the people I've, the other comics people I've met at conventions, I can't think of anyone offhand who works ahead of time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of ones that are inspired by real life people, but not who have any kind of an ongoing friendship or whatever with. Where it's, I try not to do that with anyone who I actually know, to like tell to let people know that that's about them. Because I feel like I can handle the weirdness because it's supposed to be my job, and that's the worst part of my job is sometimes people on the internet have opinions about me. That's that's not a bad job, but I try not to say what's based on real life, at least for the sake of the people who are in it. It's not my own sanity. One of the ones that is based on a real girl who is too bizarre for reality. I have no problem telling strange stories about her because if you just walk past her, you'll hear even stranger ones. But she's there was one comic which is not actually in the book about that had a girl rappelling down the side of the building and telling the guy to come out and go on an adventure, and that was based on an actual girl who did at MIT who did she did rappelling, jumping off of buildings, windsurfing, caving, kickboxing, and every other sport that they had there. She would do like in rapid succession. Like she'd have do morning windsurfing, and then afternoon kickboxing, and then kite surfing, and then rappelling, and then caving, and then after hours they all climbed the MIT dome. And then her day job was building lasers. She was a physics grad student. So the rappelling down the building was totally her. And there are a variety of others. There's one about there are a couple making fun of me that are totally straight from reality. Like the one about getting locked out of the house and trying ever more elaborate methods to get the people inside to know that you're locked out, so they'll come and get you. We're calling them up. You're like, oh, I'm locked out. Call on the cells. That's my first thought when I'm locked. When I need to get into somewhere and someone's upstairs, like, hey, I'm outside. Can you come downstairs and get me? And my roommate, her cell is off, and okay. She's probably on the computer. I have my laptop in my bag. I'll message her. She's not there. And this went on and on. Oh, wait, I could log into my server in the living room on the wireless, and it has text-to-speech on it. And I can, and I'll get it to say a message like, hey, I'm downstairs. Come get me out. And then I found out this is all. I actually found out the volume controls on Mac. My volume control was set down, and so I had to figure out how to turn up the volume, which it turns out there is this thing, OSA script, and I was like working my way through the man pages on this, and there was also a girl who had stopped to use her cell to make that call, and another girl came by and was like, all right, maybe I'll try the cell again. And I asked the second girl coming by, and she said, "Oh, and I assume the doorbell doesn't work or something." And I just looked at her and I was like, and I don't remember whether or not to save face. I just said, "Oh yeah, the doorbell's broken. Can I use your cell?" And then tried calling again. But the doorbell works fine. I just forgot it existed. I remember thinking like, oh, we should have a couple of rocks, like little pebbles sitting out so it would be nice to have a system like that. Notify someone inside. In my head developing the system. So, any other questions?
I've been asked by a friend of mine in Cambridge to ask you if you know the Emporium. This time Emporium in Somerville.
That sounds vaguely familiar. I know it was a.
It was an arcade and bar that was in Somerville that was closed down since not having riots at it.
I think I hear about that. I think this was before I lived there. I've only lived there a couple of years.
Gotcha.
I think that was before my time. That sounds fun. Wait, what? It was the teenagers riding. Was it soccer moms?
Yeah.
Was this one of those things where the kids were in the arcade game and one of the kids lost or something and the parents got mad? Wow. That's awesome. Like the jocks were the ones who always got to have that, news stories about them. But I'm glad to see the nerds have them. Yeah, a friend of mine was actually looking at starting up an actual nickel arcade that would have a bunch of arcade games and stuff that you would play, and it would all be nickels. And they do their. And they had a business model or something. I don't know.